Hello friends, Jennifer Pearson here, Thistle Gypsy. So, this is a review of the Lord of the Rings Oracle. Probably, I think there's more than one, but I think, there's the Hobbit Oracle, or maybe it's the Hobbit Tarot, I can't remember. But at any rate, I think this is the more well-known one and pretty much universally disliked. But as an old Lord of the Rings fan, I don't know if you call it devotee even, I thought, and because this is universally hated, it's extremely cheap. And so one day I just said, you know what, I want this off of my wish list, and so I'm just going to buy it for however little it cost. I can't remember, it's one of those ones that's sometimes available for pennies, I think it cost a couple of dollars. So, and there are reasons to dislike it, but I think that there are reasons to like it as well. So this is the front. It's huge. It's huge, and there's a reason for that. And they've made it look like a book. The packaging looks like a big, thick book, and they've got, you keep it closed with a tie like that. So kind of like old-fashioned book or an old-fashioned diary. So that's cool. The packaging is cool. So it opens up. And then it gets hokey. Then it gets hokey and ridiculous. So they've tried to make it like a divination game. So I'm telling you the bad part first, and then I'm going to show you the cards. Do I have the book? I think I took the book. So they want you to use this map they've provided, which I can't even show you. But what you can see is that there's no way they lay the map flat. There's no way this map is ever going to lay flat again, especially if you put it in there. It's warpy, it's stiff, it's ridiculous. The other thing about the map, now I actually recently, earlier this year, it's 2017, earlier in the year, my mother said, do you have the Lord of the Rings? I'm in the mood to read those again. And so I sent all of my Hobbit, the Lord of the Rings, everything to her, so I don't have any of the maps. But there are some things here that don't look right to me. Like where LOTR-themed is located, on which side of, I believe that's the Anduin coming down there. So they have LOTR-themed on the other side of the Dead Marshes. And I'm like, I don't think that that's right. And they don't call Rohan, they don't call Rohan Rohan. They call it Rohirrim. Rohirrim is the people. So there are sloppy, stupid errors here. Now you can correct me. Maybe I've been too much of a fan and I don't have things right. I don't know. But so you got this thing, which would make anybody crazy. You can't use it. It's not usable. They created something that isn't usable. And then they give you a fake, I think this is just made of wood, a ring, which is kind of fun. It's kind of fun. I wish they hadn't made it quite so thick. Or had made it the way it should be, which is not like this, of course. The writing should be on here. Nobody wears a ring like that. So again, it's lame. But their idea here is to use this like you would use a pendulum. And so to tie a thread to it and to hold it over the map and see where it resonates, where it takes you. So it ends up having kind of a Ouija board-ish kind of a feel to it, which again is not at all appealing to me. So, and where did I put the book? There's the book. So the book is here, and I like the book. Supposedly, created by Terry Donaldson, supposedly the book is written by somebody fairly authoritative. What does it say? An authority. I can't remember where. Terry Donaldson. His name kind of rang a bell, so it doesn't completely surprise me. Terry Donaldson was initiated into the Order of Bards, Obates, and Druids on the spring equinox 1974 and graduated with a First in Economics from the London School of Economics in 1976. So it goes on and says all the places that he's been. It says he was the founder and director of the London Tarot Training Center and is an internationally acclaimed authority and trainer in the tarot, astrology, and psychic warfare. Which makes me go, what? Psychic warfare? He is author of a number of books, Step-by-Step Tarot and Principles of Tarot, also Wyvern, The Game of Dragons, and The Lord of the Rings Tarot, which I don't think I was aware of. His interests include astronomy, radionics, and traditional Irish music, and he is a student of the Irish language. So there's that. There's an extremely rough and not very useful storyline rundown of events. So they're trying to cover the Hobbits, and they even, even way back, Elendil of the royal house made war on Sauron. That's way back. So I don't know that they quite go into this. Well, they do go into the Silmarillion, actually. They do. So, yeah. So it talks in the early part of this about how you're supposed to use it, etc. And being the intuitive person I am and having seen some problems with this already, I'm going to scrap that. I'm just going to use it however I want to use it. And these are useful. What he wrote, if he wrote it, I don't know if he wrote it, or if somebody paid him to put his name on here, and I apologize if I am besmirching somebody's reputation. I doubt it, but these things in here make sense to me. Okay, so it tells a little bit about Helm's Deep. It says esoteric meaning, personal indications, and then a reversed meaning. And these make sense. Being pretty familiar with the story anyway, I don't know. I mean, it's almost kind of a nice, nostalgic revisiting, and it doesn't hurt to refresh some of the mythology, but I don't think of it as terribly necessary. All right, so this is my my deck in a sock. So this is how I've run out of pouches for my decks because I've gotten, some cheapola decks, cheap used decks, and decks through trade, and so I'm short of pouches, and so I use a sock. Okay, big error number 1, or maybe number 5, I don't know. It's another big error. This is the cards in their upright position. Sorry for the glare. In their upright position, which has the map upside down. Okay. I mean, how can you, the map is supposed to be, according to them, is supposed to be this, and look like this. This, if you were to look, the cards are reversed. So when the backs are upright, the cards are reversed. When the backs are incorrect, the cards are upright. Right? That is a major error. That's like going back to the drawing board or giving them away free. That is a major error. Other than that, I'll just say I got this deck for the cards. Or, I got the deck. I got this set for the cards. I didn't care about this system. From other reviews, I knew it was going to be crappy. Alright? But I wanted the cards. Now, is the art great on the cards? Some of it I really like this I do like. Others of it, you'll see, I have a problem with. I wonder if I can, maybe if I go, I'm sorry. I'm wondering if there's a way to avoid, yeah, that helps to avoid that glare. Alright, so Mount Doom, the realm of Lothlorien, the eagles, the Ents, the orcs, the white tree, which is great, the white tree of Minas Tirith, Mines of Moria, misty mountains, the great river Anduin. I wish they hadn't made it black, but that's alright. The Black Riders, Bjorn, the shapeshifter, Bjorn, yeah. The Hobbits. So we don't get real specific. It's kind of interesting. We've got Bjorn, but we never have Frodo. We never have Samwise. So they just don't appear. They tend to keep it more general, actually. The Corsairs. And even when they get specific, now why when they don't get specific on Samwise and Frodo and Bilbo, and yet they give us Rose Gamgee and Belladonna Took, is beyond me. Maybe they just felt that they needed to have mothers in the deck. I could see having Rose. Rose makes sense. She's pretty major after the fact. But Belladonna Took, I don't know. And then look at the face on Belladonna Took. I mean, she practically looks like an orc, and it's like that. That's weird. That's the only card I have a particular problem with, real problem with in terms of the depiction. Because, I've seen over the years, way back to Rankin and Bass, and I remember all the Hildebrandt brothers illustrations of the Lord of the Rings, and so it's been through the ringer. The Dead Marshes, Shalab's Lair, the city of Minas Tirith. And I could be saying these wrong, Over the years, I've just developed my own pronunciation. The Lady Eowyn. Okay, Saruman, the false counselor. And so, one of the things that's interesting is, again, they have Saruman. They have Bjorn. But they don't have Gandalf. They have Gandalf's staff. And he's in the picture, but the emphasis of the card is on his staff, not on him. As you will see, they also have Aragorn, the mirror of Galadriel. So we don't have Galadriel, we have her mirror. The Blessed Realms. And again, this is Silmarillion. This is not Old Man Willow. So some interesting choices. There's a total of 40 cards. And he goes into all this, how 40 is an important mystical number. Whatever, you could have had more cards here. The Grey Havens, the Great Ring, the 7 rings of the dwarves, the 3 rings of the elves, the Shire, the 9 rings that were made for mortal men. I think it's interesting that it seems to have, the king and the queen in each of these situations. The Ghost Army of Dunharrow. There again, this is Aragorn, and this is the Sword of Aragorn. Helm's Deep. And to me that's, again, no, they weren't hanging out in front of Helm's Deep. So, anyway, Staff of Gandalf. Again, here's Gandalf, but, it's supposed to be about his staff. And if you look at his staff is like a worm. It's not. It lacks substance. So again, that's another problem I have. That his staff is so weird looking, so insubstantial looking. The Great Sea, the Eye of Sauron, the elves, the wolves, and there's I think that's Gandalf up there, and that must be from the Hobbit, and so I don't remember. The Rohirrim, the Unloved Child. I'm going to say that one back because I'm going to tell you something amusing here. Forest of Mirkwood. Love that image. That's a marvelous image. And then the Seven Palantiri. So the reason I bring up Gollum, the Unloved Child, as it's called, is I did a deck interview with this deck. So I did a deck interview. And one of the questions is, how would you describe yourself? So that's one of, whoops, I'm not going to put that back in there. How would you describe yourself? And this is the card that came up, Gollum, the Unloved Child. And that shows me that this deck has a sense of humor. Okay? Because as I mentioned, this is kind of a universally disliked product. Cards, you know, people can't even get to the cards or judging the cards because there's such a problem with the system, the whole theory of divination and the errors and things going on here that people just, you know, are practically ready to throw it away rather than give it to anybody. So it's true, it is the unloved child. So it's a little sad, but I took it in a humorous light. That it's like the deck knows that it's not appreciated. That things didn't turn out the way they were supposed to. Sauron must have had some interference in the creation of this, even though he's supposed to be done with. So there we go. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to keep it for the cards. I don't know if I'll throw this away eventually. I won't right now. I'll keep it for the time being. I'll use the cards for a while and see how much I get along with them. I'm going to spend some time with them. I've got a notebook that's designed to spend some time with each of these cards and the definitions here and do some writing about how I would interpret them and do some thinking about how I would use this set of cards. So there you go. I can see dividing it. Can I do it now? So we have things or tools, places, people, well, beasts, people. I'm going to call the Eye of Sauron a person, place. So I was seeing, and this is like a tool. The staff is a tool. Helm's Deep is a place. The sword, the ghost army is going to be people. The rings are tools. The Shire. So what I was thinking was, how many of these things are, well, what am I going to call that? Places, and how many of them are people? And what else is there? I knew that there were tools as I started to look at the staff and the sword and the mirror. So these are like tools and places. I guess we'd call that a place, her lair. Dead marshes, people. The Corsairs. What do I want to call the Corsairs? I'm going to call them a tool because they're the tool for the folks of Dunharrow. The Hobbits are people. Bjorn, people. The Black Riders, sort of people. Anduin, Misty Mountain, Mines of Moria, the White Tree. I'm going to put the White Tree here. Orcs, Ents, Eagles, Lothlorien, Mount Doom, and Gollum. So yeah, I feel cheated in my Hobbits. I do. I feel cheated Hobbit-wise. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 cards that refer to either people as a group or a person. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Also 14 for places. So that's an interesting balance. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 cards that strike me as being tools. And then other. Old Man Willow. I'm not willing to call Old Man Willow a person. And the wolves are something else. The White Tree of Minas Tirith. I don't know. So, there you go. Alright. So I've been intending to look at that, so I did it on the video. And think about a little bit, what does it mean if you're pulling up places? If you pull up mostly places as opposed to people, does that mean anything, or doesn't that mean anything? Yep, something that I would like to contemplate in terms of possible uses for this awkward attempt at an oracle game divination thing, from which I will simply take the cards and use them however I want. All right, everybody, take care. Bye-bye.